Howdy y'all, Galator here. So for episode 6 of Vanilla Book Club, we're going to be reading War of the Ancients from the Craftsman's Terrace. The Highborn's reckless use of magic sent ripples of energy spiraling out from the Well of Eternity and into the great dark beyond. The streaming ripples of energy were felt by terrible alien minds. Sargaras, the great enemy of all life, the destroyer of worlds, felt the potent ripples and was drawn to their distant point of origin. Spying the primordial world of Azeroth and sensing the limitless energies of the Well of Eternity, Sargaras was consumed by an insatiable hunger. The great dark god of the nameless void resolved to destroy the fledgling world and claim its energies as his own. Sargaras gathered his vast burning legion and made his way toward the unsuspecting world of Azeroth. The legion was comprised of 1,000,000 screaming demons, all ripped from the far corners of the universe, and the demons hungered for conquest. Sargaras' lieutenants, Archimonde the Defiler, and Manaroth the Destructor, prepared their infernal minions to strike. Queen Azshara, overwhelmed by the terrible ecstasy of her magic, fell victim to Sargaras' undeniable power and agreed to grant him entrance to her world. Even her highborn servitors gave themselves over to magic's inevitable corruption and began to worship Sargaras as their god. To show their allegiance to the Legion, the highborn aided their queen in opening a vast, swirling portal within the depths of the Well of Eternity. Once all his preparations had been made, Sargaras began his catastrophic invasion of Azeroth. The warrior demons of the Burning Legion stormed into the world through the Well of Eternity and laid siege to the Night Elves' sleeping cities. Led by Archimonde and Manaroth, the Legion swarmed over the lands of Kaldorei, leaving only ash and sorrow in its wake. The demon warlocks called down searing infernals that crashed like hellish meteors into the graceful spires of Kalimdor's temples. A band of burning, bloodletting killers known as the Doom Guards marched across Kalimdor's fields, slaughtering everyone in their path. Packs of wild, demonic hellhounds ravaged the countryside unopposed. Though the brave Kaldorei warriors rushed to defend their ancient homeworld, they were forced to give ground, inch by inch, before the fury of the Legion's onslaught. It fell to Malfurion Stormrage to find help for his belligerent people. Stormrage, whose own brother Illidan practiced the Highborn's magics, was incensed by the growing corruption amongst the upper class. Convincing Illidan to forsake his dangerous obsession, Malfurion set out to find Cenarius and muster a resistance force. The beautiful young priestess, Tyrande, agreed to accompany the brothers in the name of Elune. Though Malfurion and Illidan shared a love for the idealistic priestess, Tyrande's heart belonged to Malfurion alone. Illidan resented his brother's budding romance with Tyrande, but knew that his heartache was nothing compared to the pain of his magical addiction. Illidan, who had grown dependent on magic's empowering energies, struggled to keep control of his nearly overwhelming hunger to tap the well's energies once again. However, with Tyrande's patient support, he was able to restrain himself and help his brother find the reclusive demigod, Cenarius. Cenarius, who dwelt within the sacred moonglades of the distant Mount Hyjal, agreed to help the Night Elves by finding the ancient dragons and enlisting their aid. The dragons, led by the great red leviathan, Alexstrasza, agreed to send their almighty flights to engage the demons and their infernal masters. Cenarius called on the spirits of the enchanted forests, rallied an army of ancient tree men, and led them against the Legion in a daring ground assault. As the Night Elves' allies converged upon Azshara's temple, and the Well of Eternity, all-out warfare erupted. Despite the strength of their newfound allies, Malfurion and his colleagues realized that the Legion could not be defeated by martial strength alone. As the titanic battle raged around Azshara's capital city, the delusional queen waited in anticipation for Sargaras' arrival. The Lord of the Legion was preparing to pass through the Well of Eternity and enter the ravaged world. As his impossibly huge shadow drew ever closer to the well's surface, Azshara gathered the most powerful of her highborn followers, Only by linking their magics together in one focused spell would they be able to create a gateway large enough for Sargeras to enter. As the battle raged across the burning fields of Kalimdor, a terrible turn of events unfolded. The details of the event have been lost of time, but it is known that Neltharion, the dragon aspect of the earth, went mad during a critical engagement against the Burning Legion. He began to split apart as flame and rage erupted from his dark hide. Renaming himself Deathwing, the burning dragon turned on his brethren and drove the 5 dragonflights from the field of battle. Deathwing's sudden betrayal was so destructive that the 5 dragonflights never truly recovered. Wounded and shocked, Alexstrasza and the other noble dragons were forced to abandon their mortal allies. Malfurion and his companions, now hopelessly outnumbered, barely survived the ensuing onslaught. Malfurion, convinced that the Well of Eternity was the demon's umbilical cord to the physical world, insisted that it should be destroyed. His companions, knowing that the well was the source of their immortality and powers, were horrified by the rash notion. Yet Tyrande saw the wisdom of Malfurion's theory, so she convinced Cenarius and their comrades to storm Majara's temple and find a way to shut the well down for good. Alright, now to dig that apart, first I want to apologize for my cold. A little stuffy today, but alright. Jumping right in with page 1. So from our last book, we already know the Highborn have been messing with arcane magic, which we learn is sending like these ripples through the Great Dark Beyond, and has attracted the attention of Sargeras. Now what I think is interesting on page 2 is they describe Sargeras as the great dark god of the nameless void. So again, this is kind of like they hadn't really distinguished Fel from Void yet. It was just the other. So the other was the enemy, and it was demons and void and everything you know. Hence, void lords are demons in Warcraft, which is a little bit odd. But okay. Page 3, Sargeras, hears about this world. He sends Archimonde and Manaroth. Okay, we saw this in Burning Crusade, so that hasn't changed. So 4, Queen Ajara. She really wants to bring him into the world. We actually have that nice little back in time instance with Illidan when you're trying to stop her and destroy the Well of Eternity. Yes, the demons, warlocks called down all sorts of creatures. So we have the Infernals, we have Doom Guards, and we have Fellhounds. So we do have a nice little breadth of the demons we already know about. So, and then randomly, page 7, we're gonna throw in a little bit of a romance tale. So, I get this is actually a big part of Warcraft lore. It does feel a little out of place in the story, but there you go. You do have this love triangle, or should I say, a nice love pair with someone on the outside, forever alone. But yeah, Illidan looks in on Malfurion and Tyrande's relationship. He resents it. He's very jealous. I believe that actually forces him to... He becomes the other later, and then he... we'll get to that in future books. Alright, page 8. That's the romance. She helps Illidan with his addiction. So falls in love with his doctor. Classic tale. Alright. Page 10. Alright, the dragons are going to help up. Good. We've already done a book club on the dragon flights. 11. They're fighting. Still fighting. Okay. I don't mean to criticize storytelling, but page 13 randomly has you completely switch gears, and it's by the way, Deathwing's now a thing, and all the dragons had to flee the field of battle. And I get that's setting up different story arcs, and definitely important story arcs within the Warcraft universe. But it seems weird that they plugged it here. I feel like in the actual War of the Ancient story, they should have just said the dragons, had to flee the field of battle. Because I feel like this is written from the mortal's perspective. It even says in here, details of the event have been lost to time. It would have been cool if the author didn't say that, and then immediately go on to say, Neltharion went mad and looked like this and did this. they weren't lost to time. You just described the entire process. 14, still ranting about Deathwing, and they're really trying to set up that story in this one. And then 15, wow, what a cliffhanger. It leaves us with the idea that Malfurion is going to destroy the Well of Eternity. Spoiler alert, he succeeds. So yeah, I enjoy this lore. Nothing's actually changed. I'm a little critical of how they ended up writing this in vanilla, but I get that they are trying to set up all these like mini side stories, and you encounter little corners of each of these stories when you're questing in the world, which is a great way to do storytelling. Games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne do this really well. They don't shove the story down your throat, but if you read all your quest text, you read the occasional book in the world, you're going to start putting pieces together, which I think is really cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. This is episode 6 of Vanilla Book Club, and until next time, au revoir.